Hey, what's up guys? Trevor with Shadow Systems, Technical Tuesday. We're gonna do a super fast introduction to reloads, okay? And I know there's a lot of opinions out there on what the best practices are and using cover and tactics and stuff, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the mechanics of doing a reload to get the gun back in action, okay? So there's kind of three that we're gonna look at. One is called the speed reload, right? That just means that the gun is loaded, and by the way, before anybody asks, it's just an unfinished stainless barrel. It's a prototype. We're experimenting with something. All right, so speed reload is, hey, I got rounds in the gun, okay, and I'm gonna dump that magazine. So bam, 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 I'm shooting, I just dump the magazine and I'm off to the races, all right? So that's the speed reload. This is more for like your competition world or, you know, whatever, all right? So that's the fast speed reload. One more time, the gun is fully loaded, I'll shoot that dude on the left. Gun is fully loaded, I ditch the magazine, and I shoot 2 rounds, okay, or whatever. All right, and I left rounds on the ground. That's the idea, speed. Okay, then we have the slide lock reload. So a slide lock reload is like an emergency, sometimes called an emergency reload. That's where the gun is locked to the rear, completely empty, and it is an emergency and you need more bullets. And you got to get the slide forward, of course, after you stick the magazine in. So either you're going to slingshot it, or you can use the slide release lever. We kind of prefer the slingshot method, but to each his own. So the slide lock reload, empty magazine in the gun, one in the tube. Yep, one in the tube. And I'm going to load out of my belt. By the way, I'm just using a competition type rig today, but the same principles apply for whether you're shooting, you know, or reloading from a pouch or a pocket or whatever. All right, so I'm on the target, I fire my round, slide lock reload, up. All right, so there's your slide lock reload. I'll do that one more time. Really easy to reset. I still have a round in the gun. Sometimes I like to go actually on the shot. If I'm not using a timer, I'll just line up and squeeze, and as soon as the gun goes, I do the reload. So let's line up. We'll do the guy in the head this time. We're lined up, and as soon as that gun goes, whoa, where are you? There you are. All right. So that is the emergency reload. Okay, then the last one is the tactical reload, or reload with retention. And the concept there is, you know, you've been in a gunfight, God forbid, there's a lull in the action, and now you want to retain the magazine that's in the gun that's got 3, 4, 5 rounds left in it, and you want to put a fresh magazine in. So we don't want to dump the rounds on the ground that are in the gun in case we need them. So instead, we're going to retain it. All right, so what does that look like? So the first step for the tactical reload is you actually go to the belt and get the fresh magazine. We want to have the gun out of action for as short a time as possible. And of course, this should be hopefully happening behind cover. You're not standing there in the middle of the road at high noon doing a tactical reload, all right? So the gun is out, I'm behind cover. If somebody comes around the corner or whatever, I'm going to grab my fresh magazine and put it between my fingers like that, see? So I just picked it out of the pouch like that, and now it's over here. That creates a space right there. So the gun is out, and I can use that space to grab the magazine that's coming out of the gun and then insert the original magazine and go back out. Put your eyes back up and retain it in your pocket or whatever. So I'll do that again. Boom, 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 boom. It's a lull in the action. Grab the magazine first, put it between your fingers, get the one out of the gun, insert the one you just got, the fresh one, and retain it, okay? So that's the 3. Speed reload, emergency reload, and a reload with retention, okay? Those are kind of the 3 you want to know how to do. Now, as far as practicing them or technique, you know, there's a bunch of schools of thought there. The fastest way I think most competitive shooters would say is to leave the gun out. So when you drop that magazine, the gun is actually doing minimal movement. You're bringing the magazine to the gun versus bringing the gun to the magazine and having to go back out. And that kind of makes sense, right? I think the tactical guys would say that leaving the gun out there means you're susceptible to having it grabbed by somebody. So they would say, come back to your workspace, do the elbow index to the hip, and do the reload back here. So that would look more like this. I'm bang, bang, bang shooting, gun comes back here, and I do the reload here. Okay? Everybody sees that? So that happens back in this position. I'll do that one more time. Bang, 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 I'm shooting. I'm gonna come back to my retained position here, dump the magazine, get a fresh one, and go back out, okay? Ideally, you're only taking your eyes off the target for that second to actually put the magazine in the gun. And I usually like to look at that little space right there. Just inside the frame is my visual index. So we'll do that one more time. The gun is out, right? I got my head up still. You can almost do it without looking, right? And then you grab your fresh magazine. Okay, so let's actually do some kind of fast and talk about technique. You'll probably watch me choke, but that's okay. That's why we practice at the range, right? Let me get that other magazine here. Okay, cool. So let's do some speed reloads. I like to use a timer. If you've got a timer, I think it's a great tool. I got 1.5 seconds in the gun, which is probably a little faster than it needs to be for me, honestly. But most guys would say 1.5 seconds out of competition gear. That's probably about right. You know, maybe a little less if you're moving fast. Okay, so you'll hear a first beep, and then you'll hear the second beep, and I'm trying to get my shot off before the second beep goes. All right, here we go. So the gun's out, speed reload. Ah! What was that? Oh, timer's over here. 16 split and 180, so that was more like a 164, okay? And I'll just shoot one round. I actually meant to just shoot one. Okay, so we'll do that again. I'm gonna ditch the magazine that's in the gun, and then I'm gonna do a speed reload. Keep shooting two, I don't mean to, but. All right, that was 127 for two, so the reload is pretty fast actually. We'll do that one more time. I'm sorry, 142 for two. We'll do that one more time. So nice and fast, on the buzzer. First round was at 124, 138 for two. So that's good. Okay. Now, if you start to factor in the slide lock, I'm going to put an empty magazine in the gun. The emergency reload, it ain't as fast. And you're more likely to bobble it. I'll try to do it with the slide lever, and then I'll also try to do it in the overhand technique. Okay, so slides lock to the rear, and here we go on the buzzer. Ah! I did the over the top because it's more natural. 176 for the reload and 194 for two. We'll do it one more time. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Let me stick a couple more in here. Again, this is the emergency reload, so I'm ditching the magazine that's in the gun because it's empty, and then I'm going to my belt for the load. I'll try to do the slide lever this time. So 156 to the shot, 174 for two. Not bad, okay. Personally, I find that I do miss the slide lever a lot when I'm trying to go fast, so that's why I like the big over-the-top slingshot kind of method, but that's a personal choice. Okay, other little nuances to it. So, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, get an extended magazine button because it's going to make it a lot easier to get the magazine out of the gun. That's true, it will, even when you don't want it to come out. So one of the most common ones is you get an extended magazine release on a gun, and the gun's on the table, you go to grab the gun, and the magazine falls out because you pushed it against the table. So we've designed our magazine buttons to be at just the optimum height where that's really never going to happen, but they're a tiny bit extended, so it's a little faster for you. But that's a design choice. If you want to put a extended magazine button in there, okay, but just realize there's a risk. So when I go to drop that magazine, the gun turns a little tiny bit. I'm turning the gun in my hand a little bit. Now, if you're a lefty, you can use your trigger finger, which is nice. But I turn the gun in my hand a little tiny bit to do the reload. And again, I try to keep my eyes on the target until I'm just watching that round go in. And I find also I'm sometimes faster if I have like a real deliberate stall right before the round goes in the gun. So like I'll try to demonstrate that. Let's pretend I'm doing a slide lock reload, and you'll see me stall really hard right before the round goes in. See? Okay. That's my super fast discussion about reloads. It should be like a 2-day class probably. So just realize that I'm probably covering stuff very lightly, and I know there's a lot of nuances, but hey, it's an introduction. You got your speed reload, which is mostly a competition thing. You got your slide lock or emergency reload, which is like an oh shit thing. And then you've got your tactical reload if you need to retain the magazine that's partially expended. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.